Part 1, The Receipt in Her Purse. You know that weird chill that hits the back of your neck when something's off. Not danger. Not fear. Just, wrong. That's how it started for me. My name's Jake Bennett, and I thought I was living the dream. Married to the same woman for 10 years, steady job, quiet house in the suburbs. We weren't rich, but we had our routines, Friday pizza nights, early Saturday jogs, her goofy laugh echoing through the kitchen. I thought we were solid. Her name was Naomi. Blonde curls, big green eyes, energy like sunshine on Red Bull. She was smart, sharp, and when she laughed, it made people turn around. She used to laugh a lot. But lately, it changed. Naomi started getting quiet. Then secretive. Then, slick. She was always on her phone. Always. She'd giggle at texts and say it was work chat. Yeah. Sure. Then came the late nights, the sudden obsession with her nails, new clothes, perfume that didn't smell like her usual stuff. I asked if something was wrong. She'd kiss me on the cheek and say, "You worry too much, baby." But I could feel it in my gut, this wasn't just me being paranoid. And then, the receipt. It was a Thursday. I was looking for chapstick in her bag before heading out to work. Yes, I'm that guy who borrows his wife's stuff, and I found it. One crumpled little piece of paper that changed everything. A receipt. Fancy steakhouse downtown. Candlelit, romantic, definitely not on our budget. A place we'd never been. The date? 2 weeks ago. The time? During one of her late-night pitch meetings. I didn't say anything. Not then. Because something inside me snapped, but not the way you'd expect. I didn't rage. I didn't accuse. I decided right then, I wasn't gonna scream. I was gonna outplay her. So I played dumb. I started taking notes. Mental ones, at first, her patterns, her moods, the weird way she suddenly needed privacy in a house we shared. I started watching. Listening. And slowly, the cracks started showing. Every time her phone buzzed, she tilted the screen away. I'd catch her smiling, then catching herself. Once, I saw a name pop up, Carla, but the preview said, "Can't wait to hold you again." Yeah. Carla my ass. That night, when she went to shower, I picked up her phone. I'd already memorized her passcode weeks before, call it instinct. My hands were shaking, but I opened her messages. And there it was. Corey. Not Carla. Corey. One of her coworkers. The guy she swore was just goofy. Yeah, he was sending heart emojis, voice notes, saying things like, "Your husband has no idea what he's missing," and, "Still thinking about last night." She wrote back. "I feel alive with you. Jake's so boring. He'll never find out." I wanted to throw the phone through the damn wall. But I didn't. Because this was bigger than just heartbreak. This was a betrayal that needed a response. Not revenge. Strategy. I knew she had a big work presentation coming up. Some huge deal for her company, new tech startup, a big client she'd been prepping for all month. She kept bragging about how it could change her career. So I waited. And planned. I don't know what snapped in me that night, but it wasn't fury. It was something colder. Focused. I wasn't just a husband anymore. I became an actor, a planner, a man with a mission. Naomi kept smiling, talking about her big pitch, how this new client was a game changer for the firm. I just smiled back, kissed her on the forehead, and asked if she needed help practicing. "I got this," she said with that smug, charming wink. The one she probably gave Corey too. By the weekend, I knew every detail of the meeting. The time, the building, the layout of the office thanks to a little Google sleuthing. I even found a photo of their conference room on the company's Instagram. Glass walls. Big windows. Wide open. Perfect. Sunday night, I waited till Naomi fell asleep and printed out every screenshot from her messages with Corey. I didn't stop at one or two. I printed everything, the "I miss your touch" ones, the hotel booking confirmations, the selfies he sent shirtless with that dumb smirk. I even printed the one where she called me predictable. That one burned the most. Predictable? No, sweetheart. You just underestimated the wrong man. I slipped the stack into a crisp white box and tied it with a red ribbon. Then I wrote the note. You're not as clever as you think. That was it. No name. No threats. Just facts. The kind that ripped through egos like wildfire. The morning of the presentation, Naomi wore that tight black dress she knew made heads turn. I watched her straighten her hair, dab on that nude lipstick she always wore for important meetings. She was glowing. Like she was walking into a future she didn't deserve. I kissed her on the cheek. Knock 'em dead. She smiled. You're the best, she said, grabbing her coffee. And just like that, she was gone. So was I. I'd already pre-scheduled the delivery. A local courier service, one that handled discreet gifting. I told them it was a surprise for a big presentation, insisted they hand-deliver it during her speech. I even gave a small tip to ensure it happened at the exact moment she'd be in front of the crowd. Then I drove downtown, parked across from the office building, and waited. From the car, I had a direct view through the tall windows. Naomi stood up front, gesturing toward the screen, all smiles and confidence. She looked like a leader. Like someone you'd want on your team. That's the thing about liars, they always look the part. Then I saw the courier walk in. Box in hand. Naomi spotted him mid-sentence. She paused, confused. He said something, pointed at the box. She laughed nervously, probably thinking it was flowers or something stupid like a trophy from the team. She opened it. And froze. I watched the color drain from her face. She pulled out the first page. Then the second. And then the third. Her hands started to shake. Her smile. Gone. Her voice. Gone. The room full of suited men turned their heads toward her, confused. A few leaned forward. One stood up. She mumbled something. Stepped back. Tried to gather herself. Too late. You can't unsee that kind of evidence. I couldn't hear her. But I didn't need to. I saw the panic, the way her chest heaved, her hand flew to her mouth. A woman from the company walked over, clearly asking what the hell was going on. Naomi shoved the box behind her like she could hide it. But the damage was done. She tried to continue, stumbled over her slides, dropped the clicker. One guy got up and left. Another started checking his phone. And Naomi? She just stood there. Frozen. That was when I left. I didn't need to see the rest. But I wasn't finished. I drove 2 blocks over to the cafe where Naomi and Corey always met up. She'd mentioned it by accident once, weeks ago. Said they brainstormed there. I walked in, ordered a coffee, and sat in the back corner, out of sight. Just watching. Waiting. 10 minutes later, she walked in. Alone. Hair frizzed from stress. Her walk wasn't the same confident strut, this was someone unraveling. She grabbed a seat near the back, pulled out her phone, and started typing furiously. Probably texting him. 5 minutes later, Corey walked in. Tall, fake charming, that smug, I've got secrets energy. He kissed her on the cheek like nothing had happened. Then I stood up. Walked over. Calm. Corey, right? He looked up, confused. Then his face dropped. Recognition. Then fear. Who? I'm Jake, I said. Naomi's husband. The one you've been screwing over. Naomi gasped. Corey's mouth opened but no sound came out. I dropped a small envelope onto the table. He picked it up. His eyes flicked through the contents, photos, messages, a screenshot of his wedding anniversary post. That one was just for flair. Wanna guess who else got a copy of that? I asked. Wah. Your wife. Your boss. Oh, and HR, thought they'd like to know about your extracurriculars. Naomi reached for me, voice trembling. Jake, please, let's talk about this. Just us. Don't do this. Oh, we'll talk, I said, stepping back. Just not in this cafe. Not in this life. Then I looked at Corey. You ruined 2 families for some lunch dates and emojis. You deserve everything that's coming. He tried to say something, but all that came out was this pitiful, breathy, wait. I didn't wait. I turned and walked out. For the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe. The next few days were quieter than I expected. Not peaceful. Just quiet. Like the eye of a hurricane right before the next wave crashes in. Naomi didn't come home that night. I hadn't expected her to. She probably sat in her car for hours, trying to figure out how everything collapsed in a single afternoon. And I wasn't about to call her. I was done giving her chances to lie. I changed the locks. I packed her things, everything. Neatly. Coldly. Labeled the boxes, left them in the garage, and sent her a single text, pick them up by Friday. After that, they're going to storage. She didn't reply. But she saw it. The read receipt was all I needed. What I didn't expect was Corey's wife to message me 2 days later. Her name was Jenna. I'd found it on his Facebook during my research, but I hadn't reached out directly. Turns out, I didn't need to. She'd gotten the envelope. She'd seen the pictures. And she wanted to meet. We met at a diner, late morning, quiet. She looked tired, like she hadn't slept since Tuesday. Makeup couldn't hide what betrayal does to a face. But her voice? Calm. Ice cold. I appreciate you sending the photos, she said, sliding a manila folder toward me. I did some digging of my own. Inside were bank statements, screenshots, hotel receipts. She had traced every lunch Corey claimed was a networking session, every unexplained charge on his card. Jenna was thorough. Smarter than he probably ever gave her credit for. He lied to me for a year, she said, stirring her coffee. I always knew something was off. But I wanted to believe. You know. I nodded. Believing feels safer than knowing. I filed for divorce yesterday, she said, sipping her drink like she was talking about the weather. He doesn't know yet. But he'll find out soon enough. I just wanted to thank you. For making me stop pretending. Her phone buzzed on the table. She flipped it face down. Was that him? I asked. No. My lawyer. Then she smiled, small, but real. You know what the best part is? Our prenup. Infidelity clause. I keep everything. That was the first time I laughed in weeks. She left the diner with her head a little higher than when she walked in. Meanwhile, Naomi was unraveling. She started with emails. Can we talk? Please just hear me out. You don't understand everything. I didn't respond. Then came the voicemails. Teary, rambling, desperate. I listened to the first one. That was enough. She said things like, it didn't mean anything, and, I was lost, and my personal favorite, you were so good to me, I didn't think I deserved you. That one almost made me laugh. Almost. But the one that hit hardest was simple. Her voice was soft, flat. I ruined everything, didn't I? Yes. Yes, you did. But the real breaking point came a week later. She showed up. I came home from the gym, my new outlet, and there she was. Sitting on the porch. In sweatpants. Hair tied up. No makeup. The version of her I used to love. Jake, she said, standing up slowly. Please. I need to talk. I told you to text, I said flatly. I had to see you. She looked like hell. Eyes swollen. Lips dry. Voice scratchy like she hadn't slept. And honestly, a small part of me hurt seeing her like that. But the rest of me remembered everything. The texts. The lies. The fact that she was only here now because I pulled the plug on her fantasy. I just need you to know, she said, stepping closer, I never meant to hurt you. I was confused. Corey, it wasn't real. I laughed. You were kissing him. Booking hotels. Lying to me for months. That sounds pretty real. She tried to grab my arm. I pulled away. I miss you, she whispered. No, I said. You miss the life I gave you. You miss comfort. You miss the version of yourself that didn't blow it all up. But me? You don't miss me. You don't even know me. Her lip trembled. You're being cruel. I'm being honest. She cried then. Not loud sobs. Just quiet, broken tears that dripped down her cheeks as she stood there in silence. I let her cry. Then I closed the door. That night, I slept deeper than I had in months. The aftermath wasn't just about her. It was about me. I started cleaning up not just the house, but my life. I deleted old photos. Unfollowed mutual friends who stayed suspiciously quiet. I got back to journaling. Picked up my guitar again. Hell, I even joined a boxing gym. Rage has to go somewhere, right? My therapist, yeah, I started seeing one, called it controlled grief. She said I wasn't just mourning the relationship, I was mourning the version of myself that trusted blindly. That loved fearlessly. That believed vows were ironclad. It made sense. But it still sucked. One morning, I found an old anniversary card from Naomi. Tucked inside a book I hadn't touched in years. She'd written. You are my always, my anchor, my home. I almost burned it. But I kept it. Not as a memory of her, but as a reminder. That love, when real, doesn't lie. Doesn't sneak around. Doesn't make you feel like a backup plan. And Naomi? She made me feel replaceable. So I replaced her, with peace that it started the moment I blocked her number. She didn't crawl away quietly, she came back swinging. First were the social media posts. You know the kind, soft lighting, forced smiles, captions like, healing isn't linear, and, some people leave because they're too afraid to grow. The comments poured in. Her friends, mutuals I hadn't unfollowed yet, were eating it up. You deserve peace, girl. So proud of your strength. Men never appreciate what they have. I wanted to laugh. She wasn't the victim. She was the arsonist burning our life down while holding a match and crying about the smoke. Then came the family. Her sister, Amanda, texted me out of nowhere. You've made your point, Ethan. Maybe now it's time to be civil, for Caleb's sake. Civil. They hadn't been civil when they tried to paint me as controlling, when they said I let my emotions cloud my parenting. Now they wanted civil. Even her mother showed up. At my door. With banana bread. I know she made mistakes, she said, not even making eye contact. But she's still Caleb's mother. You can't erase her. I stood there, holding the door frame, wondering if she even knew about the texts. The roadblock comment. The nights I sat on the porch while her daughter giggled into her phone with another man. She erased herself, I said. I'm just turning off the echo. I closed the door. Not hard. Not loud. Just, final. The truth was, I wasn't angry anymore. Not the way I had been. There was something colder than rage moving through me now. A kind of clarity. I wasn't playing defense, I was done playing it all. But Lauren wasn't. She showed up to Caleb's school again. This time in tears, full performance mode. Told the front office she just needed a few minutes to talk to her baby. He didn't budge. Sat in the counselor's office with his arms crossed and eyes like stone. He said he doesn't feel safe seeing her right now, the school told me. Legally, we can't stop her unless you have something formal. That night, I called Claire, my lawyer, and we filed for a restraining order regarding unsupervised visits. I wasn't waiting for Lauren to rewrite our story while Caleb stood in the rubble. Meanwhile, something strange started happening. People started reaching out. Quietly. Carefully. One guy from work. A neighbor I barely knew. A cousin I hadn't seen in years. All of them said some version of the same thing. Hey man, I saw what happened. I just want you to know I believe you. I went through something like this. It gets better. But damn, it's hard. And then there was her. Elena. She was a volunteer at Caleb's school. We'd passed each other in hallways 100 times and never exchanged more than a nod. But now, somehow, she saw me. Like, really saw me. Not the shattered guy glued together with stubbornness and silence, but the man underneath it all. We talked one afternoon in the parking lot, about kids, about the school fundraiser, about how exhausting life feels when you're the only one keeping the roof from collapsing. Her smile didn't feel like a threat. Her voice didn't sound like a trap. It just was. Real. Calm. For the first time, I felt something warm that didn't hurt. I didn't chase it. I wasn't ready. But I didn't run from it either. A few days later, Lauren made her boldest move yet. She posted a video. Public. 5 minutes. Just her face and a trembling voice. She cried. Talked about losing herself in a hard season, about mistakes made during personal trauma, and about how some fathers weaponize their children to punish their wives. I watched it alone in the kitchen, fists clenched. She never said my name. But she didn't have to. The comments exploded. Sympathy. Outrage. People begging for her side of the story. She got exactly what she wanted, attention. But I had something she didn't, the truth. And I was done letting her own the narrative. So I wrote a post. Simple. No hashtags. No video. Just words. There are 2 sides to every story. Mine includes hotel receipts, recorded threats, and a 12-year-old boy who asked me to change the locks. Believe what you want. I know what happened. So does my son. I turned off the comments. The next morning, my inbox was a war zone. But this time, people were listening. Even people who'd believed her started messaging me. Apologies. Questions. One even wrote, I didn't know. I'm sorry I judged you. And Lauren? She called. I didn't answer. She showed up at the house. Again. This time, I opened the door. She looked like someone had popped the balloon. No makeup. Hair tied back. Hoodie too big. Voice small. I want to talk, she said. For real this time. I don't, I replied. She flinched. But I will say this, I added. If you ever loved Caleb, even for a second, let him heal. Stop dragging him through your damage. She stood there for a moment, blinking like she didn't recognize me. Maybe she didn't. Maybe I wasn't that same man anymore. You used to be kind, she whispered. No, I said. I used to be yours. I closed the door. This time, it was loud. The courtroom was colder than I expected. Not temperature-wise, just the air. Stale. Tight. Like everyone was holding their breath and didn't know how to let it out. I wore a navy suit. Not new. Not fancy. Just clean. Caleb stayed home with my sister, sketchbook in hand. I didn't want him here. Not for this. Not for her performance. Lauren sat across the room, wrapped in a gray sweater and the soft, harmless persona she'd been rehearsing online. Her lawyer was new. Clean cut. Expensive looking. The kind of guy who calls people, sir, but never means it. Claire, my attorney, was a statue. Still. Calculated. But I felt the heat radiating off her. She was ready for war. So was I. The judge was an older woman. Sharp eyes, tight bun, no patience. It started with Lauren's lawyer painting her as a devoted mother. Of course. She fell into a difficult time, he said. A breakdown. But her love for her son never wavered. Claire let him talk. Let him spin. Then she stood. No further comments on character, she said. We'd like to submit evidence. She handed over a folder. Inside, screenshots, receipts, Caleb's written statement, and, last page, an affidavit from his school counselor. The judge's eyebrows twitched. The child requested to submit this? Yes, Your Honor, Claire nodded. He asked for his voice to be heard. The silence that followed was deafening. I didn't look at Lauren. I didn't need to. The judge read the statement aloud. I don't want to live with my mom right now because I don't feel like she wants me. I heard her say I was holding her back. I saw her kissing another man while we still lived in the same house. I just want to feel safe again. I feel safe with my dad. The courtroom didn't gasp. No one cried. But Lauren's mask cracked. Her breath hitched. Her jaw trembled. And for once, she didn't fake a tear. Claire didn't stop. She presented the recordings. The texts. Ryan's bar confession. All of it. Then she rested our case with 5 words. This is who she is. Lauren's lawyer stood again. Your Honor, this is one perspective. People make mistakes, but... The judge raised her hand. I've heard enough. We waited in silence while she reviewed everything. Pages turning like ticking clocks. I will be issuing a full custody grant to Mr. Ethan Hale, she finally said. The court sees no immediate benefit in disrupting the child's emotional stability. Ms. Hale may request supervised visitation, pending therapy compliance. Lauren didn't cry. She didn't shout. She just sat there. Still. Defeated. Maybe she thought the internet would protect her. Maybe she thought tears worked in every room. Not this one. When we walked out, the sun was blinding. I blinked against it and felt the weight of months fall off my shoulders like armor I didn't need anymore. Outside, Claire turned to me. You did it, she said. I shook my head. No. Caleb did. 2 weeks passed. Not much had changed. But everything felt different. The house was quieter now. Not empty, just peaceful. No more slammed doors. No fake laughter from the hallway. No scent of Lauren's perfume lingering in places it didn't belong. Just Caleb and me. And the sound of his pencil scratching across paper as he sat by the window, sketching. He didn't talk about court. Didn't ask about his mom. And I didn't push. One afternoon, I found a drawing taped to the fridge. It was the two of us. He'd given himself a cape. I didn't have one. I was just, there. Tall. Solid. Smiling. It said enough. That evening, I grilled burgers. Caleb ran around the yard with our neighbor's dog, barefoot, his laugh echoing down the street. I hadn't heard that sound in months. Then she showed up. Not Lauren. Her name was Maya. New family in the neighborhood. Divorced. 2 kids. Laughed with her whole face. We met when her garbage bins rolled into my driveway during a storm. She apologized 3 times before I even touched them. She smiled like someone who hadn't smiled in a while. We talked. Then we talked again. And again. Now, she stood at my fence, a Tupperware of cookies in one hand, wine in the other. I figured post-court victory deserves dessert, she grinned. And maybe a toast. I invited her in. Caleb peeked from the living room. She waved. He nodded, cautious but curious. Then went back to his sketchbook. We sat on the porch. Talked about everything but the past. No mention of exes. No pity stories. Just dumb movies. What kind of cereal we liked. Whether backyard grills were overrated. It felt real. Later, she said, "You seem calm. Like someone who just walked through hell and made it out." I laughed. That's because I did. She leaned in, serious now. And I didn't come out clean. But I came out whole. Silence again. But the good kind. The next morning, Caleb and I watched cartoons while eating cereal straight from the box. He turned to me mid-chew. "Are we okay now?" I smiled. "We've always been okay, kiddo. We just forgot for a bit." He nodded. Then held up a new drawing. It was us, again. But this time, there was someone else too. A woman. Standing at the fence, holding cookies. A dog in the background. He didn't say her name. Didn't need to. Sometimes stories don't need endings. They just need peace. And we had ours.